my horde. My husband and I recently finished watching the first 2 seasons of Resident Alien. It's been renewed for a season 3, so enough people seem to be watching it, but I actually haven't heard anybody talking about it. And because I decided to make this video right now, I haven't actually gone looking for any content based on it yet either. I remember being very interested when the show was about to come out. I mean, Alan Tudyk maybe just playing himself as an alien stranded on Earth? Sign me up. I'm also weirdly attracted to Alan Tudyk, but we don't need to look too hard at that. The first episode was free on YouTube for at least a time, and my husband and I did watch that, and I did really want to see the show, but it was on Sci-Fi, so that wasn't gonna happen for me. That was until a few weeks ago. I saw the season 2 DVD set in Walmart, and I was like, shoot, I didn't even know there was a season 2. So I went off to look for season 1 because if season 1 and season 2 were in the store, I was just gonna buy them both. Season 1 was not in the store, and I came home, told my husband this story, and he goes, actually, I think that's on Peacock. And I went, we have Peacock? And he's like, yeah, I pay for Peacock. So he actually went on, and we started watching it right away. I really like this show. It is hilarious and wild, and I am curious about the production budget because there are actually copious CG shots, and I haven't looked it up, but they've got to be mocapping somebody because it is just so spot on. The production quality is astronomical. The plot is completely bonkers, but that is something I absolutely love about it. It's just funny and unashamedly absurd. This is the kind of show where it's more fun to just sort of let the mysteries unfold in front of you than try to solve them yourself. Although I say that, and then later on in this video I am going to do some theorizing just because it's a season break and I wanted to think about the show for longer. So I'm not really making this video as a review to convince you to watch the show, but let me just play you a quick clip, and if it doesn't convince you, well, actually, I'd still recommend watching at least the first episode before you entirely rule it out.
You're the one who says the moon is man-made.
That's not a theory, that's a fact. I mean, each crater's the same depth. The damn thing rings like the gong when you hit it. You can't even see the other side. Shit, they probably got an Arby's over there. Maybe even a strip club full with moon titties.
Okay, from here on out, this video does contain spoilers for all seasons of Resident Alien because I am about to go on an unhinged ramble. First, I'm going to talk about me for a minute. One of my big childhood fears was aliens. Like, I was afraid of E.T., and when my mom tried to convince me to rent it so I could see that aliens weren't scary, I probably said something really rude to her, or I cried. I don't remember. But when I was 7, my mom decided to try another route to cure my alien fear, having me watch Mars Attacks, which gave me nightmares, and I still flinch when I see those motherfuckers to this day. It was rebooted Doctor Who, actually. That was the first alien media that I was able to cope with, other than like Third Rock from the Sun, where they aren't really ever in their non-human forms. However, late at night, when I'm looking at a dark window, the thing that runs through my brain and freaks me out is the idea of an alien slamming up against the glass suddenly. So, deep in my heart of hearts, I am somehow still afraid of aliens. But Resident Alien is not scary. Despite the extra arms on the alien form of Harry actually kind of making me a little nauseous, he's not frightening. Which is fantastic because this isn't a horror, it's a comedy with heart. 2 seasons, 26 episodes, I have no issues with this show, so imagine my shock when the very last scene of the very last episode decides to traumatize me. And to be fair, it isn't entirely the design of the Greys that did it. The show had a Grey a few episodes prior, and I was like, okay, that's kind of cartoony, this is fine. Even though Greys are among my top feared aliens, not helped by me as a whole ass adult deciding to watch that one horror movie that came out a few years ago. You know the one, I really don't remember the name. Nah, it was these damn tentacles in the people's mouth. Like, look, kudos to the effects team. I'm sure this was their goal. These things look fucking nasty, and they pulsate, and I get a tiny bit nauseous just thinking about it. So if I added any video clips of that, can I get a little respect for tolerating it long enough to share my trauma with you? Oh, and these fetus jars definitely don't help either. After we watched this episode, when I woke up at 3 a.m. to pee, my overactive nighttime imagination was just convinced I was going to see one of these aliens in my hallway, and it's just a dumb, cartoony alien, but I am now afraid of it. I'm sure that some of you, do not get it. This isn't scary to you. Your brain doesn't constantly wonder if one of the Silence from Doctor Who is behind you and you would never know it. Your brain doesn't tell you that you better turn on a light quick to make sure that this cartoony-looking motherfucker alien isn't here to jam tentacles in your mouth. Why am I ranting about it? Well, mostly just to excise the thoughts from my head, but also because I absolutely love this show, and while I feel a small sting of betrayal that it suddenly got scary, I am 100% going to watch season 3 anyway. Now, with that rant out of my system, I can actually talk about the show. You might think that a show that just introduced some time travel shenanigans and features an alien that seems to always suddenly reveal a new power we didn't know he had to get out of a situation might be poorly written, but no. By the time we hit season 2, I have every confidence that the writers know exactly where the show is going at all times, and I think they know exactly what they are doing with every ridiculous plot twist. It isn't exactly a parody of sci-fi, it rolls and revels in the tropes it uses, but it does have its tongue in its cheek. This show wants to be goofy as heck, and that's why they cast Alan Tudyk as Harry. Also, because it's hard to think of another actor who could even make the noises he makes as the alien language. I'm almost entirely convinced that he just ad-libbed this. There's not a single performance in this show that I would not call spot on. Even the child actors are giving perfect facial expressions, and these kids are written in such a way that you could envision a version of the show that focused on them as a very classic kids' adventure family feature right at home between E.T. and the Goonies or whatever. And they write this little girl as such a pushy, thinks she has it all together Spitfire that I can't not love her. I cannot wait for this actress to one day have her own show. You know, if she even still wants to act when she grows up. And then there is the actress playing Asta, tasked with being the emotional heart of the show, and she just gives and gives. She's incredible. So much respect for her. Resident Alien is also just shot really well. Visual compositions, lighting, the sets and locations, they look so great. I mean, I've never been to Colorado, so I cannot tell you if it actually looks like a small town in Colorado, but it looks like somewhere I would want to live, except for the fact that it snows there. Florida is a political hellhole, but it is the only climate I can survive the winter in. So then there's the plot. I've already said that it is bonkers, but I really do feel like it flows. I really feel compelled to compare it to a soap opera. It's constantly dropping little dramatic turns on you, starting from the very first episode when you spend the entire runtime wondering why Harry crash lands on Earth, only to find out he was trying to eradicate humanity. Maybe not a big shock, but it turns you on to wondering why his species wants humanity gone. The longer the show goes on, though, you start to get the feeling that Harry is outright incompetent, which is obviously where the comedy comes from. I don't really think we'll get an answer, but I actually really want to know how Harry was chosen for the Extinction Project. I mean, he obviously has no issues when the plot calls for it. In season 2, he's able to create a genetically engineered organism that can carry a message that was implanted in it before it hatched. But more often, he's incompetent for plot convenience. For example, why didn't he just eat the real Harry? We see him eating so much meat, and before he forms any relationship with Asta, he doesn't see humans as better than animals or anything. So wouldn't you just eat the dude that you just killed? I mean, it's a ready food source right in front of you. Now, obviously, it's because the writers decided they wanted the foot to wash up, but I don't think of it as a plot hole. I do think of it as a character moment. For some reason, Harry did not see humans as a food source, even though he was here to kill them and saw them as lesser beings. He even claims to have contemplated eating his babies, so I don't think it was a problem with eating sentient creatures. It was specifically humans. Unless we take the cannibalism as just a joke, which also seems perfectly reasonable. Now, does it matter why he didn't want to eat humans? Not really. But it is interesting because, like, would other members of his species have the same qualms, or would they have thought a little more forward and been like, I don't want anyone to find this body, so I'm gonna eat this guy, but I don't think the show is gonna answer that for me. Another interesting thing, not fully explored, is the fact that the device Harry had would have only killed humans. His species wanted to save the planet Earth from the destruction caused by humanity. There's really zero explanation as to why they care, and in season 2, when Harry's species seeds the Earth to the Greys, he says that they will move on to saving another planet. So it kind of sounds like they just go around killing any species they deem to be killing off the planets they live on. But it isn't like they were going to do anything to reverse the effects of humans. They would have vaporized us and left all our nuclear plants and warheads, along with anything else that might cause harm if we suddenly weren't tending it, completely alone. We learn that octopuses on Earth are descended from a common ancestor to Harry's species, and they are in fact not just intelligent, but sentient, and have had enough contact with Harry's species that the Philionpuss, yes, I just said that, knows about the plan to end humanity. So were the octopuses supposed to just do the cleanup? Was Harry's species specifically killing off humans so that the octopuses could become the dominant life form? I don't know, and I don't think we'll find out. I really don't, because it actually doesn't matter, but I do want to know. And you'll find, I think I just said that for the last few things I talked about. I really think that maybe I just want to know things that don't matter. Now, the show tricked me for a minute, because I really didn't expect the alien tracker guy to be that important, and then when he came back and was such a key piece, that was just on me. I should have known that anything that they show you on this show really can be important. They went out of their way to show the original abduction, so I don't know why I didn't think that they were gonna bring him back up. And it does seem like his character is going to have long-lasting effects, not just through his son, but other things going on. I am a little sad that they killed him off, because that actor really fit into the show really brilliantly. But it was kind of this nice arc, he got to die saving his son, although it seems his son is not saved, so also it's kind of tragic. But, he got to see him again, or to begin with, because it seemed like they had only took the wife to see the son, and he had never really gotten to see his son, but he had a photo or something. I'm off script, and I'm actually rambling through my head, so I don't know what's going on right now, but we're about to land back in the script, don't worry. Although before we get back onto the script, just one more thing, just because it's a silly thing that happened to me, and I would have to rewatch the show to figure out what I might have missed, but like for the first several episodes, I missed that Deputy Liv had I'm actually not sure if that's her husband or like a boyfriend she lives with, but it wasn't until the episode where the ladies all go out into the woods to dance around the campfire with the van or whatever, and she's talking about, oh, I can't get a new car until my guy gets this thing, and I was like, she's seeing someone? She's married? I'm actually not sure that they are married, because it just seemed like it popped out of nowhere, because in my head, her wanting the sheriff's respect and attention so much was a potential romantic tension. But clearly not at all. It is just wanting like regular workplace recognition. And that's just me conditioned that somehow all relationships must be romantic. Although, to be fair, as far as Asta and Darcy go, even my husband is like, they should just kiss. And he usually is very, like, anti-romance in things. So, you know that there's stuff there if he's just like, oh my god, just kiss already. So, even though I said I just like letting this show happen to me, I can't help myself right now that I have nothing left to binge. I must theorize. So, the last episode features documentary-style clips of people talking about seeing UFOs. It starts with someone actually from Dark Horse Comics, seemingly on the set of the show, so we initially think that these are out of universe. And actually, the first time watching the episode, my husband fast-forwarded through these interviews because he thought they were stupid. Well, the last interview, it turns out, is with the character Deputy Liv. So I knew I had to go back and actually watch those segments because they must be important. We won't know until season 3, but I think, given that this is an in-universe documentary, what they're leading up to is the worldwide outing of the existence of aliens. I think that in order to preempt the Greys taking over, they're just gonna have to prove to the world that aliens exist so that people can resist. There was an interview with a person who seemed like he might have been the documentary maker, and I think that he's going to come into the plot on Deputy Liv's end, where her husband/boyfriend, whatever he is, and the sheriff are all investigating the alien tracker's death. And this guy comes to document, or when that group finally folds in with Harry and Asta and they realize they need to announce aliens to the world, this is the guy they're gonna call. Now, I don't know how it will fit into the Save the World narrative, but even though the guy who wanted Harry dead was killed, I can't help but feel like that might come back up at some point because it wasn't completely resolved, although maybe I just missed it. Though for a hot second, I thought it was linked to the assisted suicide Harry performed, but then I googled it, and actually that's legal in Colorado, so I must have actually missed where it was brought up earlier in the episode before it happens. Whoopsie. Anyway, it did seem like there was more to that story going on, and it would be a shame to drop it entirely, but with the team that was investigating things that might have been linked to real Harry now out there fending off the secret agency as they dive into the alien antics, I'm not sure where it will fit into the narrative, like I said at the beginning of this paragraph. So, the first season of Resident Alien has 10 episodes. Which is a bit short for something that actually aired on TV, in my opinion, but such is the way of things these days. The second season, however, had 16 episodes. My husband and I didn't look at the episode count, so when there were more after 10, we were like, oh, wow. And then at episode 13, we were like, okay, how many episodes are there this season? It was 16, and I was like, well, hell yeah, that is a very reasonable number of episodes. Well, I just went to look up when season 3 is supposed to air, and apparently it's been reported that season 3 will only be 8 episodes. Truly bizarre, if true. I have no fucking idea what's going on with television shows lately, but I absolutely blame Netflix and Stranger Things for ruining everything. Well, that is a rant for a different video. Season 3 is currently in production and is supposed to air sometime in midsummer or fall. So that is when to be on the lookout if you are on board with this show now. Original airings should still be on Sci-Fi, but apparently it will at some point be available on Peacock. I don't know if it's going to be available like day after on Peacock or if they're going to wait until the end of the season and at some point chunk it all up on Peacock, because I didn't look that up. Don't know how it works, but sometime in the late summer, start looking, and then figure out how you're gonna watch this amazingly hilarious show. Thank you for coming along on this disorganized ramble with me. I just wanted to get a few of my thoughts out about this show, but I'm not ruling out the idea of going for like a deeper analysis at a later time. Maybe if season 3 ends up being the end of the show, we can go back and do some episode by episode nonsense that will make for some long form content. Although it might just evolve into me talking for 8 hours about how the fuck does Alan Tudyk do that with his face? How is this man real? Why does his chest look like such a good pillow? You know, totally normal stuff. A good way to convince me that said further content would be a good idea is to leave a like on this episode and leave a comment that just says pizza. I'll know what it means. With all of that, I will see you treasures next time.